Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to episode number 3 of Building an Empire State of Mind with Karolyn, our guest for today. Welcome.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
You sound amazing.
Okay, I have my special mic here.
Oh, look at you. You're so fancy. I was telling Jennifer she needs to get a pod mic.
Yeah.
So, to get all fancy. Well, thanks for coming on today. So, everyone, welcome. For those of you that don't know, Karolyn is a badass. She just celebrated 2 years of retiring from her W-2 to work full-time on her and her husband Miron real estate portfolio. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You're a mindset guide. Tell us all the things.
It's really been a journey. I was having a little brief conversation with Jennifer yesterday just to catch up, and just yesterday was the actual 2-year mark of us going into this full-time, not knowing what we're doing, entrepreneurial world of let's go into real estate. And we both come from, the normal grind backgrounds. I went through college, got my degree that I don't use.
I did that.
Just got a $50,000+ piece of paper for 5 years of my life, whatever. Miron spent about 15 years of his life in the car wash automotive industry, building a company. And it just was like, what are we doing? And so we were thinking about real estate, thinking about what can we do? We looked at tiny homes. We looked at just what are the possibilities here? And so finally we got up the nerve and the guts, and we jumped into it. In April 27th was his final day of his W-2. I had already been at home. I was a photographer, but I worked from home. I still do a little creative photography work on the side when I get a chance. But it's been this ever since. And we jumped in at that time, and we entered in with the Bigger Pockets world. And we quickly realized this is not for beginners. You know what I mean? Great community, hooked up with some people locally, and really grateful actually, because they ultimately introduced me to who is Pace Morby. And, we went down the rabbit hole and signed up for Sub 2. And, since joining Sub 2, it's just it's really been a whirlwind of, we're approaching our 2-year mark at the middle of August this summer. And we can't believe it. We can't believe it's already been that long. It went by like that. And yeah, we've had a lot of great things happen for us just within the past year. We've acquired a 30 unit. We got to partner with Pace on it. We acquired another 40 unit near the end of 2022. And we just acquired we had a single family deal that kind of initiated our portfolio last March. And then we've added 4 more since. So,
oh my gosh,
more creative deals. Awesome. We're working through it. Yeah.
I had no idea. Every time I talk to you, I realize that we have something in common. I came from the automotive industry situation. I didn't know that Miron worked over there.
Yeah.
And then I found Pace through Bigger Pockets too. So I think a lot of people found him on that Bigger Pockets podcast.
Well, I didn't even find out about it. Well, I think the Bigger Pockets community, pushed it out. But maybe that's how. I went to a local Bigger Pockets meetup, and one of my friends there, she's like, you guys need to check out creative finance. And I'm like, what is sounds weird. What are you talking about? And she's like, no, it's this Pace Morby guy. And maybe that was at the time that he did the podcast. I don't remember, but yeah, we went down the rabbit hole and here we are. So I'm really thankful. And yeah, Miron was, he started out in autumn, like car wash, detailing everything. Like that was his first job. And
wow,
he made a whole career out of it until he didn't. So we're here now.
That's so awesome. What made you guys want it? Why real estate? Like what made, because like you were photography, Miron was doing car wash. Like why were you like, let's abandon all of this and go all in on real estate?
So we knew like for a while, like the buildup through the previous years prior to jumping in, we were like, we knew this wasn't the lifestyle that we were meant to have, that we deserved. You know, he traveled a lot. I was pulled in different directions. We have 2 daughters. We just didn't get to have the family time or any of that together. And then we were like, we need to be grown-ups. We need to like invest. We need to like do all the things. And how do we build generational wealth? And, you know, I just don't want to do another rinse and repeat of, you know, the years before us. So we were obviously like HGTV junkies. I told Jennifer about that yesterday, like, you know, watching Chip and Joanne and all the fix and flip shows. And we're like, wow, you know, we could do that, or like that seems really cool, or I would do this, or he would do that, you know. You know, you kind of like put your mind into what would you do in that scenario. And I think a combination of like knowing that we wanted to go into investing and like learn more about investing for our future and the real estate and all the HGTV and all of that stuff. And we had looked into tiny homes at one point, which didn't pan out, but that's fine. And it was just kind of all of that mixture. And finally we're like, we're just going to figure it out. And yeah, we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah. And you're killing it now. Your guys have how many doors did you get last year?
Last year we had a total of 71.
How many do you have total?
75.
Oh my god.
So we've just added a few more at the beginning.
Just a few. So you had 4, you went from 4 doors to 70 doors. 70.
Oh, at the beginning of this year, we just added a few more. So yeah.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's like a big jump. So
it's really big jump.
Tell us how how does that look like? So how did you get from, I don't know, like one of your deals, I don't know, you partnered with Pace on one. I don't know if you've partnered on Pace with all of them, but would you break down a creative deal for us, like, and how it looks and what it looked like from start to finish on how to get there?
For like multifamily?
Yes. Or anyone you want.
So I'm going to go the 30 unit, the first deal that we did. And that was actually brought to us. I was looking through my phone and I saw a photo come through, like a memory photo, right? Uh-huh. And it was that property. Like that entered our world like literally a year ago today. And we were like, we don't know what's going on here. So we had started in multifamily, just learning the basics. We went to Clever and I saw Vina Jetty speak. I'm going to give some like build up to where I'm going. But we saw Vina Jetty and I was like, who is this amazing woman? She's accomplished so much and she's fascinating. So we jumped into multifamily. We had some partners, just educating ourselves and everything, marketing ourselves, putting ourselves out there. And like, we're just learning. We're just taking step by step. And through that marketing and putting ourselves out there, a couple other sub-2 students brought us this deal. And we were like going back and forth with it. It was a 30 unit. The seller wanted $3 million cash, had no solid financials, no teacher, like it was just it was mismanaged. And, the owner didn't want to disclose anything that would put him in a position to where he would have to pay taxes. So he was just like making up stuff and not really being very forthcoming. And so we're like going back and forth. It was a lot of back and forth for a while. I'm like, look, we can't make this work as a cash deal. So fast forward to June of last year. It was like the day before the mastermind. The night before the mastermind is when we like put this on a contract. So it was all like very kismet, I guess you could say. Like it all happened very timely. So they got on a Zoom. Myron and a couple of our other partners got on a Zoom with the seller. And this, they were just having casual conversation. The seller's like, I'm getting older. I have grandchildren. I set up a trust fund for them. I just really want to seller finance my entire portfolio. And Myron's like, oh, what do we got to do to get this seller finance, right? Because we had countered his $3 million cash with like a $2.5 million cash. Like that's the only way we could maybe make it work. And so when he heard that on the Zoom, he's like, okay. Pace had just closed the San Angelo multifamily there. I believe it was a 40 unit, and it was like 50-year note, 3% interest, like 0% to the seller or 0 cash to seller, all the things, right? Like a unicorn deal. And so Myron like used that as a third party story and was like, this is what we just did.
So good.
We got this deal done, and what do we got to do to get you, do 3%? And he's like, well, the lowest I would go is 7% because that's like what you're gonna get on the market these days, blah blah blah. And so he just kept kind of reinforcing like, well, we could do a 50-year note and all these things. And he's like, okay, the only way I'll do a 50-year note is if you come back up to 3 million, and I'll do the 3%. And then it was some back and forth after that, but we were like so like thrilled, and we didn't know what to do with ourselves. Like we were like, how do we even draft up a contract for this? And figured it out. And then we went to like a meetup that Pace was having prior to the mastermind going on. And we told him, we're like, hey, we like used your terms to get this deal. And he's like, awesome, I'll buy it. Like, I'll partner with you. I'll make you partners. And we're like, done. We didn't know what the hell we were, what an amazing opportunity. We're so glad that had like lined up in that time fashion for him to say like, okay, yeah, I'll buy it and I'll make you partners on it. And so
I did not realize that was the mastermind that we were both at, right?
Yeah,
that was so not even that long ago. I didn't realize that it was less than a year ago.
It was less than a year ago.
Yeah.
And so it took some time after that to like finesse the details. And he initially wanted like 10% down or something. And we said, we'll give you 5% down and we'll keep the other in escrow for repairs. And we just moved things around. But overall, like, we made it work, and we knew it was a value add property. Myron got to get on a Zoom with Pace and the seller again and like, finalize the terms and everything. And it was a lot of interesting hoops to jump through, but at the August 29th was the closing date. So it took that long of a time to like actually get it across the finish line. Yeah. Wow. Now
for those of us listening may not know what creative finance is in sub 2 and the Pace Morby thing. So creative finance means you probably did not have, I just guess, like 2.5 million in the bank ready to pay for that. Right. So they are counter offering $2.5 million on this thing. So a lot of people are like, I don't have $2.5 million. I have no business countering offer a 3 million. Like, who am I to be doing this?
Right.
So that's what Karolyn's talking about, is when you're a sub 2 student, which is short for subject 2 and pays more B's. He's like, we are all partners. Use my deals. And so to reference people to show that like this is a legit thing. So that's what she's talking about when Miron said, hey, we just did this other deal. So what that looks like. So you say those terms again. So obviously you did not give them $3 million cash at close. They seller financed it over, did you say 50 years?
50 years. We got a 50-year note. Yeah. So essentially the seller became the bank, instead of us going out and getting a mortgage and financing the property, the seller became the bank. And he's like, I will seller finance this to you, this property to you at 50 years with a 5% down payment, which was what? I think $150K for a 30-unit, $3 million purchase.
Damn.
Like, that's crazy.
That's like nothing, right?
Yeah.
It's something, but in the grand scheme of it, it's nothing. Like, and we use that as like our baseline of like, why would I pay? Like, I got this for this. Why would I pay this? So yeah, it was a 50-year note, 5% down payment, 3% interest rate, which is free money essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, was that all the terms? Yeah,
that's so cool.
It's awesome.
That is amazing.
I was just gonna compare it so that other people can hear. So we bought 27 doors in Canada last May, and so it was $2 million. So because we went traditional, because I didn't know all of this and whatnot, it was a $500,000 down payment, and I think it was still like 4.5%, but it's like a 25-year note. It definitely isn't a 50-year or anything like that. So just for comparison's sake.
Yeah. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
Please share the moment. Sorry, I'm rereading.
Share the awe moment that made you, like, what made you be like, was it, I mean, for me, it would probably be like a $3 million deal over a 50 years. Like, what was the thing that you were like, oh my God, we need this?
Yeah. So we had been building up this momentum in multifamily, and finally we're like, okay, we can make this work as a creative deal. Like, we went through all the nitty gritty and pulling it apart and saying, no, can't do cash. And when we were able to have that Zoom with him, and he was like, I just want to seller finance my portfolio. And we're like, this is it. Like, that was it. Like, okay, now we can. And when we laid out the terms and finalized on them, it was like, all right, this is amazing. Like, what more can you ask for, right? Like, that's a property we're going to hold forever. Like, who would get rid of a 50-year?
No. Oh my gosh. That's like going to be a cash. If it's not yet, it's a cash cow for sure.
It's in the process. So like I said, it was a value add property. It's not cute. Like, it's not cute right now, but it's getting cute. So yeah, we actually got to visit it a couple months ago when Pace was here. And we did like tours and like inspections, and I'm like just understanding like what's going on. So yeah, lots of renovating and cool things and getting it up to the potential beauty that it has. So it's in a really cool, nice neighborhood too, like 2 blocks from the beach. So
is it a Texas property?
It is. It's in Corpus Christi.
Oh, it's no little cute little boutique motel in Palm Springs, like
not yet.
Karolyn's gonna get one of those one day. So if you guys know a little old motel that she can, make it all cute.
I'm definitely like, that's where I think a lot of my visionary and like, oh, why real estate, right? It's like another form and way for me to flex my creativity or visionary skills and abilities, is like, let me make this cute and let me put my mark on it and everything. Miron's more of the systems and the piecing it all together, and I'm the putting the bow on it.
So for those of you that are maybe new, what she's referring to is, if you guys read the book, I think it's Rocket Fuel, where there is in a team, there is a visionary, and the visionary has all the big ideas, and I'm going to make it all cute. And then the integrator's like, okay, give me those ideas, and I'm going to go find you this and make the details happen.
Right.
And usually most people in real estate, or at least in the sub 2 community, we're all visionaries. It's like, we have all these great ideas. And so Karolyn and Miron are really lucky because they're married. Not only they complement each other well there, but in their business, Miron can do like, oh my God, he's amazing at systems. He's got the REI reply down. You guys are such a good team.
He's a rock star. Like, he's grown so much in the past 2 years in his own right and element. And like, to see him like thrilled and driven in this space of like what he's doing. Cause when you start out, you're like, I know what I like to do, but I don't even know how to do it, or how do I get started. Right. And so, that evolution for the both of us is really cool to watch, and just to be a part of that with each other is really awesome. And we have, like, I'm higher visionary with a little bit of integrator, and he's the opposite.
That's so cool.
So we kind of overlap here and there, and we're like, okay, you stay in your lane and I'll stay in my lane.
Yeah. You definitely have to do that. Alex and I do that. We have to stay in each other. We can't cross lanes.
You got to signal first.
There has to be proper communication.
Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off in my lane.
Do not cut me off. Do not brake check me. Cut me off and then brake check me.
Don't
Please. It will not end up being a good situation for anyone.
I'm going to use that.
Totally. So tell me, so you also, not only are you the visionary, but you're also the mindset. And what I learned, I love following, you guys should follow her on Instagram. That's her handle right there, at Karolyn.Briley. She is so chock full of like all this, the mindset and all that stuff. Like, how does mindset play into, Jennifer and I were just talking about that. She's like, I wish I would have known about the mindset part of building any business, if it's real estate or not. Like, how does the mindset play in is my first question on all of that.
It's like 99% of everything I do. It feels like, of this whole journey. It's just like, we didn't even know all the crap that we came into this with. You know what I mean? This opens a whole nother like luggage of stuff of like, okay, we have to work on this. We're in a scarcity mindset. How do we think abundantly, or like, how do we improve or put ourselves in growth situations, put ourselves in uncomfortable situations that are going to propel us forward, and not play small. And it's so important and so vital to, I think the majority of us, as a natural human tendency, or just nature, like just from being brought up that way, whatever, just want to focus on the surface level thing of like, I'm going to go into real estate. I'm going to be an investor. I'm going to be an entrepreneur and deal with all the like high level day-to-day tasks just to like get things from A to B, and to grow a business. But then it's like this major underbelly that if you don't pay attention to, if you don't start to develop and understand all the deeper things going on and intertwining underneath that, you're going to hit some roadblocks. You're going to hit a wall. You're going to like maybe rebuild business. Who knows what, like lose people, have to create new relationships, whatever that is. Like, understanding what's going on here is only going to help you tremendously. It may feel, I think a lot of people think it feels insignificant when we're in the like throes of what we're doing of like, no, I just need to make money. I just need to get an assignment fee. I just need to get a property and all these things. I can like invest in myself later. What's therapy or what's coaching? What is that going to do for me? Right. But it's like, you gotta take a step back. Like you can't build a house on sand, right? You can't build your foundation on sand. So
true. It's so true. And I don't think either, I did not realize this, how big mindset was until really being in it. And it does, you don't think, you're like you said, you feel like it's just like, I don't need to get into that shit. Just give me the assignment fee, but it has everything to do with like how you interact with people and how you communicate with people, because you can get you can get a whole lot more. What is it? Bees can get more flies. I don't know. Bees and the honey and
bees
the flies.
attract more.
You know what I mean?
You can attract more. I don't know.
I don't know. I always reference it and I have no idea what
I was like, maybe you should nail that one down.
You can attract more bees with honey than shit or something.
Yeah, something like that. So, and it's so true. And I've realized this in my day-to-day, like even just like even if you're not in real estate, even if you're at a regular corporate W-2 job, just, you get the whole, like your vibration level, the more you vibrate, the universe gives back to you. And you need to work on that BS that you have. And one thing I'm just learning about, I learned so much from following Karolyn on Instagram is, so there was the My Human Design, which we should get into, but it's so interesting, even with your marriages, like you talk a lot about being in your feminine and being in the masculine. Can you kind of elaborate on that and like how that has helped you and Miron in your, not just your marriage, but you're also married and working together. So you,
right.
It will reflect on your business.
So I will say, like, this is something that I'm starting to really like understand on a deeper level. I know there's a lot of like talk about masculine and feminine, and it just feels like repackaged 1950s household stuff. Like, I don't necessarily, I can understand that viewpoint, but I can see the like future vision or like the deeper meaning of it is like, we are all born with both of those energies, right? Like we all have feminine and masculine energies. Usually, typically, man, woman, female, male relationship will have a feminine presenting energy and a masculine presenting energy. Like Miron and I, he has a masculine presenting and I have a feminine presenting, whatever. And so what that is like your feminine is all about like receiving and like being in the amazing bodies that we are. Like we are the creators. We're literally birthing children. Like we're the ultimate. We're the ultimate.
We are the ultimate.
We create everything. We receive it. We're just that like natural, maternal, wonderful energy. And so masculine is more, I'm the decision maker. I'm clear. I'm like driven. I have a goal. I'm going to give. Like I'm going to give it my all and go in that direction. Like they're the givers and we're the receivers. But on the flip side is like, we also have that masculine energy, like what we're doing right now. We're having this like, this is our mission. This is our goal. You guys have a podcast. You're going to like, I have made my decision. I'm going to go towards this goal. I'm going to grow it. I'm going to build my business and all these things. Like we all have that inner energy, and like guys do, they have their inner feminine of like, they have their feelings, they have their emotions, and like, we love that. But when it gets like out of whack, let's use me and my crap for an example, right? Like sometimes I'm not decisive. Like I can have my moments of like, I don't have clarity on what I want to do. Like I see the picture, I just don't know the direction to get there yet. And then Miron like picks up on that, and he's like, wait, I think it's more subconscious, right? So it's like, okay, I see her not figuring it out or not having that clarity. So I'm going to start like creating solutions for her. Like, let me just throw some things at you. And I'm like, bro, I don't want your solution. Like, thank you, right? Like, thank you for loving me and supporting me. But it's also like, don't fix me. You know, I'm not to be fixed. I'm to be like, let's think this out and let me like go my own way. But that's how an example of like how those energies can get out of whack of like, oh, I see her living in that like her own masculine in that respect. So then I can't allow myself to be in my natural feminine, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yes.
It's a lot of like juggling, and we have both. We can flex from one to the other, and it's like really learning to, quote unquote, knowing when to shut it off and to be in your natural presenting energy, and vice versa. And like, you always strive to have that balance between the two, no matter what partnership you're in or who's what or whatever. It's like you have to have that balance of each energy, and it's really interesting to me to figure that out.
It is. I feel like that's like such a guy thing. I don't know. I think Alex and I do that too. I'm like, I just want to talk to you about the shit that I'm in. I don't need you to go in there and fix it. Like,
yeah,
not yet. Like, that's I think that's a common thing. And that can
I feel like we're the opposite. Seth will be like, oh, I have this problem, or oh, I'm stressed about this. And I'm like, what about this? What about that? How about we do that? And he's like, I thought we were just talking. I was like, oh, okay. Like,
take it down.
I'm like a fixer, right? I'm like, oh, you have a problem with that? This is how we can fix it. And he's like, no, I'm more just like talking to you to vent. I'm like, oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And it's so important to understand that. And it can go, like I was saying, like you guys work together, both Jen and we all work with our husbands in our business. Mm-hmm. And it's so important to have such a good foundation, like you said, of you can't build a castle on sand necessarily. Right. So.
And like, it is literally everyday progress, and we're still like figuring stuff out about each other, and like, how do we communicate better on this, or how do we do this, or, you know, the importance of our like pre-existing relationship and our marriage, and like that comes first, right? Like, we have a very big heavy plate of like business that's shoved in our faces right now. And when you're in business with your partners, you tend to feel maybe a little bit comfortable in the sense of like, okay, we're good. We're like locked down, right? We're like, we have each other. We see each other at the end of the day. We have families. Mm-hmm. And then it's easy to get in that grind of like business. But then you're like, wait, when's the last time we like went out on a date? When's the last time we like didn't have a business conversation, or, you know, we did something fun that didn't revolve around looking at real estate? Not to say we can't do that, right? Like, there's a balance and a flow of doing both things at once, but, you know, you also want to like pour into that investment.
Yes. It's good to have a balance in everything.
Yeah,
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like kind of going back to what Karolyn and I were both in Pace's Sub 2 Mastermind last June, and they talked about this, like, it not only, even if you're not in business with your husband or your wife or your partner, even going into business with someone, Pace was, and telling us from his experience, is you're getting married to someone legally. Yeah. It's easier to get out of a marriage than it is to get out of a business partnership. And it's very much like a business, is very much like a marriage. So you have to understand how, like, your own stuff and other people's stuff, and how to communicate, and how it's so important to just do all the work.
Yeah.
On all of your stuff.
And like, especially being married or having your partner alongside, whether you're married or not, if you're like in a relationship and you're doing this together, it's like the hardest thing in the world sometimes to separate the emotions that come up when you're doing business, right? It's like, wait, why am I getting all moody about something when like this is a business, you know, like these are business transactions, these are like day-to-day things, and it's easy for us to go the emotional route sometimes because we're just used to it, or we're comfortable, like we feel like, well, you're my partner, or like you're supposed to understand this, or you know, those types of things.
Absolutely. And it's such a foundation, like you said, of like a successful business, a successful marriage, a successful business marriage situation where you're doing all of it. You know, we're all investing with our husbands or our partners or whoever. Do you feel like understanding? So I want to talk to you about the My Human Design aspect of it. So you are much more eloquent in explaining this of what it is than me. I am not.
You're going to put me to the test.
Eloquent person. What is it? And like, how has it understanding that helped you in the mindset and business sense? That's a big question.
Yes. So human design is a blend of I always try to relate it for relatable terms of astrology. Okay, you're going to take your birth date, your birth time, and your birthplace, and you get this whole elaborate chart that usually overwhelms everyone that looks at it, including myself. And there's just like a few core things that you need to know about it just to have like a great overview of like, oh, this is what makes me, right? So it's a blend of like science and understanding. It's truly just finding out like who you are, the essence of who you are and what drives you, what path you are, how to take the path that most serves you in your fullest alignment, like what resonates like in deeply, subconsciously, and mentally, emotionally, everything. It kind of bundles all these different elements together. I mean, it goes into like digestion, it goes into how you process your emotions, it goes into like how you do business like with other people, or how you view yourself internally. Hey, Sebastian. Thanks for being here. And all of these different elements, right? And so it gets very deep really quick. But I discovered, kind of like a natal chart, but much more detailed, I would say, in a totally different direction. I do like to what I would suggest anyone looking at this, and I'd be more than happy to like go over that with you and just read through it with you so you have more clarity. But I don't take this as like core, strict, fundamental, this is how I live my life, like to the T, right? This is like supplementary fuel for you to understand like where I stand and who I am, the essence of who I am. How do I create the life that I want to live in my own alignment? And so I discovered human design, oh my gosh, 3.5 years ago.
No, but wow.
Yeah. And it kind of blew my mind. I just shouldn't say kind of, it like really blew my mind. I got a reading done and I recorded it and I like cried through the whole thing. Because it was like this come to Jesus conversation of like everything you've ever felt in your life has just now been validated. Like for me personally, I always felt like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. I'm such a late bloomer. Everyone's doing their own path and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I feel so lost. I'm always like creating a challenging thing or going through all these different motions of life and never just going on a straight path, right? And then she's like, okay, one of the profiles, let's say, of this human design is they're called, I believe there's manifesting generator, a generator, a projector, which I am, and a reflector. I believe those all 4. And I think I got them all. I feel like there's one more, but anyway.
Manifesting generator. Did you say that one?
It's a generator.
Manifesting generator.
Manifesting generator, projector, and reflector.
Yeah.
So the majority of the population is made up of these generators. I think you're a generator, Carly.
I am a generator.
You're a generator.
Yes, I am.
I don't know, but I would assume you're either a manifesting generator or a generator, just by like just based off of all the like hard hitting success that you've had, right? Like you just go for it. So there's all these different profiles, and for me, I'm a projector, and for a projector specifically, they're the type we relate it to, like, let's say there's a tree and you're the bird in the tree. Like you're a projector, you're the bird in the tree, and you see all these other animals going around, moving around on the land, like all these manifestors, all these generators, everyone else just like doing their thing. And projectors come in and they're like, okay, we see everything that's going on, and this is how we're going to like fix it. Like, this is how we're going to like guide you to figure like the best way to achieve what you want to achieve. Like both Miron and I are projectors, which was like when we found that out, we're like, oh, that's why we act the way we act. Like, this is why we're just like constantly like throwing the same stuff at each other. And so it's when we hone it in the right way, we're like superpowers, you know, it's like a superpower for us. But if we don't understand how these things intertwine and how we each interact with each other, being both projectors, it's like repelling magnets, right? Like you're trying to guide me, and yeah, I'm trying to guide you, and like it just doesn't work. But where was I even going? So like knowing that I have this core essence of understanding people, like being able to read people and see, okay, this is what's going on in your life. You're trying to get from A to B, and you're doing it a certain type of way. Well, let me get my perspective, and I bet I have a better blueprint, a better layout, a better path for you to go that direction. And we also go off of invitations. So like I have all of these qualities and these things that make me me, and how I can help other people and serve them. But if you don't ask for it, it's not going to serve you, right? I just can't say like, oh, hey, Carly, by the way, you need to move that snake plant over there because it's giving you like bad energy in your room, right? Like, no, because that's like, who the hell are you? You can't talk to me. You know, like I didn't ask you for your advice or whatever it might be.
Yes.
So that's kind of like being invited on here. Thank you. Like that is speaking to my true nature projector world of like, okay, I'm invited. I have an invitation to come share who I am and what I do and all of my qualities and everything. So it's kind of a random rundown of everything.
It is. It's a really good one.
It would be a whole nother podcast of
we should do
breaking down everything profile.
And like each thing, I'm just looking at it like you have different parts, and so it'll talk about your instinct, your desire, your emotions, your motivation, how you communicate, your inspiration, your ideas. So it tells you, and it's so crazy how spot on it is. Isn't it crazy? Were you,
Very crazy.
Jennifer, were you shocked? I'm like, Jennifer, Karolyn, you knew what Jennifer was without even knowing because you just know her. You know, it's so crazy.
And that's not the first, you're like the third person. They're like, oh, have you ever done it? And I hadn't done it before. I'm like, oh, no, I've never heard about it. They're like, yeah, I'm like 90% sure you're a manifesting generator.
For sure.
I was like, yeah, whatever that means. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, what does this even mean?
Yes, yeah. It feels a little like what Carly said, like woo woo, like what are you even, what are you talking about? What are all these like words you're throwing at me, right?
Yeah.
But when you actually, and the app, that My Human Design app really helps on breaking it down like in small bites of, this is how you respond emotionally in the world. This is they give you a chart and like they'll show you how like your energy flows through your body and
interesting.
How you act as like you're either an absorber or you project it out. My whole, like the majority of my body is like open in those little compartments that you see on your chart. If they're closed, that means like I don't have, like, no energy flows through that, right?
Really? See,
like,
I'm still learning about all this.
Like you have that to yourself, let's say. And for me, I have like all of it's open. So I'm just walking around like a big fat sponge, absorbing everyone's energy all day long. And I'm like, as a projector, what you do, you amplify what you're given. So if you don't understand, like, because I can walk into a room and I can like, oh, something is not going on. Like something's not right in this room. Like this person has something going on.
Are you an empath too?
Huh?
Are you an empath too?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
like I would consider myself like high empath, like clairsentient person, like all the feelings, like all the absorbing stuff. So if I'm not careful, or people who are empaths understand this too, like if you're not aware, you can walk in and just totally take on that energy and then like run with it. Miron will come home sometimes and he'll be like a little, you could just tell like you're not talking as much, or you're just kind of moving around in a way that something's going on. I'm like, hey, are you okay? Like are you all right? He'd be like, yeah, why? I'm fine. I'm like, like,
I feel it.
I'm saying exactly. But if I went in the times that I haven't been aware of it, I will just take it on and be like, like slamming the drawers and clanking the dishes. And like, you just feel so out of whack. Like, oh my God. I'm like, wait, this isn't me. This is somebody else that doesn't know what's going on. And I'm just like taking it to the next level. So
for sure,
there's a lot of understanding to do, but
it's easy to take as an empath or like somebody that has all their things open. I'm like that too, where you have to protect your energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't feel like you have that problem, Jennifer.
I was just going to say, I was looking at the chart and I was like, so most of mine are closed.
So is it the line? So I'm going to show you mine. Is it the line?
Like,
okay, so you see those little, right?
A lot of black and a lot of purple going on in mine.
So all the white spaces, all the white diamonds and triangles are your one's your heart, one's your like spleen, all those little spots. Those are open. If they're white, they're open.
Okay. So it's not the lines, it's the squares.
I mean,
and triangles.
Yeah. Now
interesting.
I have a couple whites, but
yeah,
not a lot.
Let me see mine.
I feel like
I have two that are closed. So
look at you. You are wide open.
I'm my head's open. I'm all open.
You are like a super sponge.
Yeah. So when you read on that chart, like that's your throat and this is your heart right here, those two areas.
Uh-huh.
And so you have gifts in those areas, and you'll read all those little teeny tiny numbers in those shapes.
Yep.
They're called gates, and they're those like all your little like super qualities, let's just call it that, like all the things that make you you. Like I have the gift of creating closeness with others, or listening, collecting stories in your throat. That's like, I can listen and I can speak like that. I speak from my throat. Like we can go into chakras, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, sensing people's needs, like all these little teeny tiny tendencies that we just naturally feel and like we've grown up with. And we're just like, oh, this is how I am. But like, this gives it meaning to who you are and why you are the way that you are.
It's so crazy how it's so crazy how you put your birthday in and they're like, done. Like it means it's nuts. I haven't met anybody that's like, no, I don't know who this person is on this chart.
I feel like I need to ask Seth what time he was born to find out what he is.
Oh my God, I have like 20 people. I'm like, oh, I need to know who you are. Like I have a guess. Like I could probably guess you, but I want to see what's going on. Because going back to using this as like a supplementary and addition to developing who you are, I like to use it as like, especially when people come, like I have clients that come to me and for mindset work and life guidance and everything. I formally like life coaching. Sure. I like to call it guide work. But I like to add this additional facet to it when they don't really understand the things that are going on, or why are things happening the way that I'm happening, the way that they're happening, and giving them this layout, this chart, and just having that general understanding. It just even like who you are, like projector, reflect, whatever that is.
So true. Just
like understanding that, and like it brings so much validation to people's lives. Miron, when I told him about it, I let him listen to my session that I did, and he was like, whoa, this is nuts. Like now he's into it. Like I was being a projector. You know, he went to a conference last year, like multifamily conference, and he's like, all these people are gonna like they're gonna come to me. They're gonna come to me, like, and they're gonna like invite me to talk to them. And he had that like happen like 5 times over, and he's like, okay, I get it. I see it. I feel it. Like he's just really trying to embrace that of how he is. But anyway.
And you can really use this to, I feel like, understand yourself better, to do the work on the stuff that you have to do to make yourself a better husband, wife, partner, business person. I feel like it's really opened my eyes. I'm a generator, which means I generate light, apparently.
Totally.
And everybody says that about me.
Totally.
LT sent me this thing on Instagram. She's like about sunshine or something. And it's so, I was like, holy shit. Like this is it. I also did my daughters. I have 2 manifesting generators.
Ooh.
Daughters. Like you guys, I'm excited for you guys.
It's really cool to see that for your kids. Ours are generators, and they're like almost identical generators. Like a couple things are different, but the cool thing about projectors is like projectors go well with everyone else, especially generators and manifesting generators, because it's like you guys are like movers and shakers, and you want to get stuff done. You have all these things, and you're, maybe in 5 different directions, but you're like going for it. And then we're like, okay, we see what you're doing. Let's kind of tweak it, right? Let's make it run a little bit smoother for you.
Yeah.
And so that's the really cool like relationship, and it'll be fun to see that flourish as the girls grow and understand like, oh, they are movers and shakers. They want to get shit done. And
I love that.
We can help. We can foster that.
I love it. How has it been? So I do want to ask you this. So how has, when you left your W-2 and you guys started to go all in on real estate, you guys have how old are your girls?
Our girls are 7. My oldest will be 8 in August.
Oh my God.
Charlie, and Sunday will be 5 in October. So like 7 and basically 8. She's 8.
Yeah.
And then 4.5. Yeah.
So cute. How's that been? Like, because you are working from home all day. Sunday's not in full-time school, right?
No.
And so like, how are you juggling, because you have the mom hat, which is like, there's already a huge mental load that comes with being a mom. Not that the husbands don't do anything, that's not to say anything, but it's just, it comes with being a mom. It's just different. So you've got the mom hat, you've got the investor hat, you've got the partner with Pace hat, you've got the wife hat. Like, how do you juggle it all? Like, how do you take time for yourself? How has it been? Like,
how much time we got?
It's a lot.
We're gonna go explicit. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I don't have like a straightforward answer because it's always like changing and so much juggling and meshing. The biggest struggle that I have personally felt. Hi, Carolina.
Hi, Carolina.
Thank you for being here. The biggest struggle that I have personally felt, especially having young kids, and I had my W-2 that I left prior to Miron leaving. And then I started my photography, work from home, mom from home, everything. So I was like doing all the things, like trying to do that business, raise my kids. Then, I had Sunday, then COVID happened.
Oh my God.
So now I have both kids home, and I'm basically like our primary caretaker, still keeping things running. So transitioning from that realm into full entrepreneurial, and I shouldn't even say full because it's like just another layer on the cake, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm still that person. And the hardest thing for me has been to understand that I'm never giving that identity up. It's just adding another layer to that cake. And like, how do I now keep all of this afloat still and add another layer of like full-blown entrepreneurial? And I will say that Miron being home, Miron leaving his W-2 and being able to be home has blessed us in so many ways that he's able to be with the girls so much more. He's able to take Charlie to school, pick her up, all the things that he's never been able to do working full time. But it's also like, and he's I don't have to ask him to do, like, he'll just do laundry, dishes, whatever. Like, he's wonderful. But it's this like maternal internal instinct of like, I know the flow of this house, right? Like, I know when we need groceries, I know this kid is getting sick. I know, like, even before it all happens, like, you just know. That they don't naturally typically have that, right? And so Miron had this W-2 like force behind him, right? He still had his like trouble and stepping stones of like going into real estate, as like we both did.
Yeah.
But coming from that background and having this like drive every day in that like work mode, is so different for me because I'm in like mom mode, work, like I'm in different modes all at once. And so now I'm like, okay, I need to drive a little bit faster. I need to put my gas on the pedal or did I say that right?
Yeah.
Foot
on the pedal.
Foot on the pedal. Thank you.
Yeah.
And all of these things. And I really want to work better at holding myself accountable in that respect, because it's like, if we want to build the business and the life and the lifestyle that we want, it's a whole lot of stepping up in a whole lot of different areas. And I think you could just constantly always have some form of guilt going on. Like, okay, my kids are playing together, they're happy, and I'm working on my computer, but I have guilt that I can't be there in full mom mode, not worrying about what needs to be done with work, And then if I'm with them, I'm like, I could be catching up on this. I could be, it's always this like,
it's tough.
So I think that's probably been my biggest like personal struggle, as like going from, having a core role as being a mom to 2 young kids, and one still at home. Her birthday's late, so she couldn't get it, so early.
I have one of those.
I love that. She's our secretary, sure, but like, it's like I gotta make sure she's not climbing on the counter getting into snacks, and I'm on a Zoom call, or all the things. And I say that with the biggest gratitude, because I get to do that. Like, I get to be home and see her and do the work that we do. It's hard.
It's hard. And I love that you're like, I am grateful for this. Like, but in the same breath, it is hard. And I don't think we talk about that enough. Because, and it doesn't mean we don't love our kids, and it doesn't mean we're bad moms if we're like, like, it is tough. And then you throw COVID in there, and then you got all these different things going on, and people are getting sick, and you're, like you said, you have that mental load. And, it's just, I don't know if I just don't feel like it. I love that you said, I am grateful for it, but it's hard. And it's so true. It's so true. 'Cause I have a 2-year-old that knows how to climb up the bar stool. She's 2. I'll be in a Zoom and someone's in the background being like, is your kid okay? And I'm like, yeah, she's just playing with her toys. And she has pushed the bar stool up to the counter to get some chocolate chips.
Yep.
And so you're like, God, am I a bad mom? Like,
I think the other side of that is, imagine if we weren't pursuing our dreams and we were just sitting there being a mom, and then we're unhappy with that, right? Like, they feel that for sure. I know for myself, I was very clear to my husband that I was not interested in being a stay-at-home mom, and that it was going to be a team sport, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like Jennifer. I love that, because when I worked full-time at Nordstrom, totally different life. But the plan for me was never like love stay-at-home moms. It's a blessing, but it's like,
absolutely,
that was not my game plan. That was not my game plan. My game plan, like, I wanted the cake and to eat it too, right? Like, I want both. Like, I want to be with my kids and I want to work. I want to contribute. I want to pursue my own passions and dreams and everything, and figure that out. And I feel incredibly blessed that Miron's like, do it. We'll figure it out. Like, he carried the W-2 farther out until we got to where we are now. But like, it's just a lot. And yeah, I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful. But it's that choose your heart. It's like, what do you want to be in this one and only thing, and you kind of have this internal resentment? Maybe not. Like, I know I was growing in that way of like, what about me? What about what I want to do? Right. And like all of those things. And now it's slowly evolving into this more team driven sport. Even still, right? Like, yeah, we've always been a team, but now it's like, okay, we really got to figure out how to be a team and like work like a team. And but still also be able to go do our own individual passions and what we like to do and have our core business that we come back to, whatever. So lots of moving parts, lots of gratitude, but it's definitely what hard do you want?
So true.
Yeah. And when people are always like, how do you do it? I literally just can't imagine going back and walking into a staff lunchroom to get my lunch and having to make that so awkward small talk. I like, yeah. So I definitely would continue to choose the stress and the guilt and all of the things that I'm feeling now over having to do that.
Right. And like it's temporary in the sense of we're always going to be presented with these new challenges as we grow and evolve and progress in our life and our business. And that's wonderful. But it's like right now, this is a temporary season. This is like a growth spurt where it doesn't feel very good, but you know you're growing.
Absolutely.
And like I see my girls and they're happily playing with each other, but it also like tears my heart out. Like, oh, mom's on a meeting, or mom's in the office, or, you know, she's on a Zoom, or she's on the phone, or mom, can we go on a walk? Can we go to the park? And I'm like, shit, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I can't necessarily hang up the phone right now. But it's, I think there's a good understanding, especially for my oldest, of like, okay, we do our best to involve her and she knows pace, she knows substitute, she knows what it is.
She knows it.
Like she gets it from a high level viewpoint, but we really want to do our best to involve them as much as we can and make them feel a part of it, make them understand like this is why we're working really, really hard right now. And we really hope it doesn't screw you up along the way, you know?
I know. But you know what I keep telling myself is when they're older and they are in play and they are going to, I don't know, if they go, whatever they choose to do with their life, our kids will be able to say, look what my mom did. And I can do this because I watched my mom be a good mom, and I watched my mom kick ass, and I watched her speak on stages, you know, like, or even if your kids weren't there, they know that Karolyn just spoke on her first stage. What was it? Was it this year, right?
Last November.
And like, that's a huge deal. Like, she's partnering with people in big, you know, in multifamily spaces. She was telling me, she's like, oh yeah, me and Vina Jetty, for those of you that don't know, is a huge deal in the multifamily raising capital industry. Like she's kind of a big deal.
It's like a cool $900 million.
Yes.
Cool.
She's killing it. She's a mom. You know, like she gets it to have 2 twin little girls. But like, you know, Karolyn's out there like, she's like, oh yeah, we got a blowout, you know, and hanging out with Vina Jetty and doing deals with Pace Morby. And for those of you who may not know him, they're big deals in the space that they're in. So it's so cool that your kids are going to be able to be like, look what my mom did. You know,
I hope so. I hope
so too.
My mom. I'm like, one day you're gonna look back and be like, man, my mom is so cool. I get it now. Mom is so cool. But
yes, there's gonna be those teenage years where they're gonna think that we're the most embarrassing things that ever existed. But I think on the other end, they'll see it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I kind of like, I want to show them like, you can do this. You know, you know, and there's nothing wrong with people that choose to have a W-2 or to be a stay-at-home mom. It's just not our thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I've always had this in my bones of being an entrepreneur. even if I'm still figuring out what that means. I think we all are to some degree, but like I am, even in my design chart is like, I'm an experimenter. Like I want to know, like I want to go through different things and understand them. And so I can have that experience and give it to somebody, like provide that value to somebody else and share that. And like going through these experiences and knowing like I'm not having to clock in and I'm not having to report to some boss. Like I didn't want that. I never wanted that. Like even in my young adulthood of like I would go through jobs like every 8 months because I was like, I'm tired of this.
I know.
I want to deal with you. Like I don't, like something was in me like this isn't it. And I'm like slowly making my way to like the it, you know?
Yeah.
So
I know.
I think that ties back to my like late bloomer complex, but I'm over that now. I'm like, nope, I'm meant to be where I'm meant to be. And like, I'm meant to go the pace that I'm meant to go. Like, slow and steady.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm the late bloomer complex too. And I still have my W-2, you know, but I did quit. I worked for an airline, which is like you clock in, you go to the lunchroom. But I feel like I have leveled up a little bit. I still have my W-2 and I love it. I get to help Pace Morby do events and podcasts and help with his community, which I am so grateful for. And I feel like it has also, he has raised me up, and in the proximity of all this, I feel like and he encourages me. He's like, I want you to still do your own business. I want you to, you know, it's not just like I'm only doing one thing. So my W-2 complements my dreams. And I have Cody and Pace are like, go get it. Go get them. Like, go do that podcast. Go get those deals. Let's partner, you know? So it does make, I still have it, but it's still like, I feel like it's in alignment with where I want to go.
Absolutely.
And I think that's huge. Yeah. Because when I was working for the airlines, that was not in alignment to where I wanted to go. So I feel like I've leveled up.
No pun intended.
No, none at all.
Yeah. Never. I love that you've become like this pillar in our community and like everything that you do. It's just, and for you especially, like you know that you have that in you. You know, like stepping outside your comfort zone is a really, really big thing for all of us. But like doing these things and having that support, especially from major people like Cody and Pace, and just pushing you to be you outside your comfort zone. And it doesn't have to relate to your W-2, but it's a very nice cherry on top to get a paycheck.
It is. It really, I'm so grateful for it.
I have stability while I'm pursuing my dreams.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's one good thing about the Sub-2 community is it's all about lifting each other up, because I can say the exact same thing about you. You are a pillar in the community. Pace partners with you. He lifts you up. He's like, if anybody wants to do multifamily deals, go talk to Karolyn and Miron, you know, so it's just, I feel like, I know we're kind of getting over, we're going over and on time and everything, but I think it's also important in success to surround yourself with positive, uplifting people. I think it makes all the difference in the world. And that's one thing the Sub-2 community really is. And I know a lot of people look at us and they're like, it's a cult. I know Jennifer thought it was a cult.
Oh, I totally thought it was a cult.
I'm sure everyone thinks I'm in a cult, but it's a good kind. Like we help each other and we help each other level up and we hold each other accountable and we make dreams happen.
I wouldn't be here with you guys.
Right.
You ladies, you amazing women. Like if it weren't for that community.
It wouldn't be.
Really, truly. Like we wouldn't have the success that we've had and the knowledge and education and the development that we've had if it were not for that community and what we can get from it and give back out. So I'm just super happy, super grateful to know both of you and build all of these amazing relationships with everyone. And
we love you.
Chosen,
I love you.
chosen families. Chosen
It's so-
families.
Yeah, Kenny is the Seattle sub 2 leader here in Seattle. He's like 100%. Like I was telling him, I know I'll wrap this up, but because of Kenny and his meetups here in Seattle, I got to know so many people.
That's
Shout
amazing.
out if you're in the Seattle area. Pace is coming next week. Kenny is the man that had 2 days to put this meetup together, and he killed it. So
That's intense.
we love
intense.
Carolina. You better come up from Portland. And Karolyn is just for all of you guys that may not know, she's a Dallas leader. She and Miron, one of the leaders. She's not the only one. There's definitely
lots of great leaders here in DFW. Yes,
but she puts up together the meetups. So if you guys are in Dallas or the DFW area, Texas, go
hit us up. Yep.
Yeah.
We just had one. We just had our meetup. It was like 80 people. It was great.
I saw that on Instagram. It looked so it just looked so fun.
It was cute. We have a cute spot right now, and we like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we could talk all day.
I know we really could. We're just gonna go offline, guys.
We could go off on another tangent, but we'll be respectful of your time. Thank you for coming. I love you. Thank you so much. So we appreciate it so much, and thank you for coming. And
happy to.
And let's do some deals together.
For real. Miron's hunting down Idaho deals.
He is, Miron. He's like, do you have any realtors in Idaho? And I was like, yes, my friend Amber Brown. So Amber she and Miron talked, and they're finding deals. And I know Miron is the integrator, and he's like, I'm gonna get you an Idaho deal.
He's so smart. Like he makes
so
a mission.
Smart.
He's like, I'm gonna get that deal. I'm gonna.
He will. I told him my dad's looking for. I don't know. I just put something on Instagram, and I was like, "We're looking." My dad is in the car business and was looking for like tire stores that he wants to buy in Arizona, and I just like threw it out there on Instagram. And Myron's like, "Here, let me connect you with this guy. Like, I found one. It's off market. Here's some pictures." Thank you, Myron. You're on here. He's an amazing. You should connect with Myron too. He's at Myron Briley, no dot, right?
No dot.
On Instagram.
Myron Briley, yes.
Yeah.
And Miron, M-I-R-O-N.
Did I always say his name wrong?
No, you don't. I've never heard you say his name wrong.
Alex, I hate saying his name because I feel like I always say it wrong, and Alex makes fun of me. But all right.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. We love you. We will see you later.
See you next week.
Bye.